A little about boxing. Did you
Yeah,
watch Manny Pacquiao's last fight?
I did. Yeah, I didn't watch it
Yeah.
live again. I caught up afterwards.
I watched it.
Um,
I watched it live, and I was so, as you can tell, I was so sad.
I know.
I mean, it was one of my saddest days in maybe a year or two.
Yeah,
I couldn't just watch, my favorite. He's my favorite fighter of all
I
time.
know. I
Get
thought about
kind
you
of get old.
as soon as I saw the results. I mean, I was thinking about you before the match, and then as soon
Yeah.
as I saw the results, I was quite shocked. What were you expecting to happen? Were you expecting
Well, I
Manny to win for
expect,
sure?
yeah, of course, a dominant performance from Manny. But I mean, let's be real. He's 42.
That's the thing.
He's a human. He's a senator. I think the layoff. Imagine 25 months out of the ring
Yeah,
for a part-time boxer, basically. I think that did him bad. So
exactly.
he's now back to activity. So I think he will be better. He's not thinking about retirement now. He did right
No.
after the fight, but after a few weeks, he was talking about rematching the guy, Ugas. I mean, he's a tall guy, 5'9",
Yeah, yeah,
70, 69 reach, something, 70 or
yeah.
69 reach,
He's long.
35. I
Yeah,
mean, he's a much bigger, stronger
younger.
guy, and he's a good boxer on top of that. So
No, he's
many is
solid.
five, 5.5, or maybe 5'6" at most, and he's fighting guys that are way bigger than himself. And I mean, that's a cliche. Those are just cliches about Pacquiao. But I don't want him to retire with a loss. I don't.
N- No, I agree. Neither do I. But I was quite because I was confused by where he was going, basically, because straight after he was saying, he was giving the message that that was it, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you can retire gracefully on a loss, I think. And now he's saying
yeah.
rematch, but if it does go to a rematch, he needs to come super well prepared and super well because
Mm,
retiring on a loss, I think as a boxer is never nice, but retiring on two consecutive losses and maybe
would be
a second loss that may be even worse. We don't
worse.
know.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, that's really tough. So I don't know. I I want to see it, but I want to see him come really well prepared. Like as you said, he'd been out of the ring for a long time.
yeah.
Um, he's got so many other activities as well.
Oh, he
Um,
does. Yeah,
and he still looks sharp and everything. But this time he needs to kind of either bring in an extra level of training,
yeah.
just kind of kick it up even further, or
Yeah,
bring in an extra level of rage, just coming
yeah,
in like with a desire to just end it.
yeah.
Um, but it's tough. I mean, 42, like 42 is
42.
it's not young anymore.
This
And
is
the
a young
size
man's
thing,
game. Yeah,
well, yeah, or like young mans are sort of up to 40, but then when you get past that 40 mark, it starts. I think if you look at other fighters, that's when it starts getting a little bit on the downhill. And then on the
mm,
size thing, I agree. But man, I think for you, for me, who like to box, who like to
yeah,
fight, we have to keep hope in the small fighters. we
yeah,
have
yeah.
to guys like Manny, guys like I don't know. I mean, you know that I love Lomachenko. I don't think that
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Lomachenko is. I think he's not very tall, right? They
Seven,
give
five,
us
seven.
five. Ah, yeah. Oh, actually, I thought he was five. Okay.
Mm.
They give me hope that the smaller fighters can come
Yeah,
in and
yeah, yeah. Can go toe to toe with bigger
go.
guys.
I think it's a good
Did you
message.
watch his last fight, Lomachenko's last fight against
Same. I
Nagatani?
only that one I didn't watch the whole thing. I only caught up on the clips after.
Mm.
Yeah.
I watched live. I try to not miss any big fight.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I mean, Lomachenko's return fight after losing to Teofimo Lopez, right? In
Yeah.
2020 October 1st, I think. October 1st or something. 3?
I thought it was. I guess maybe it
October the
was.
3rd, yeah. The
Maybe.
3rd.
I have no idea of
He,
dates
he,
anymore. I
he
guess was it
lost,
it was a year ago, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
a year,
I
almost a
was
year
sad
ago.
what you felt with Manny. I was really sad. I was really sad when he lost.
I was, man, I couldn't eat
Yeah.
well. I couldn't sleep. Whenever, I wake up in the middle of the night, I always have that in my mind, so I couldn't fall back to sleep. The pain of being a super fan.
Yeah, it's the
Uh,
price to pay.
yeah, going back to Lomachenko before coming back to Manning's case. I think Lomachenko, I think he's 32, right? He's only
Yeah.
33, 3 or 2.
Yeah. He's not
So he's still
35.
he's still okay enough to
Yeah,
compete
yeah, yeah.
with to be in the sport basically.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
no, he's
he
good.
wants to rematch Lopez, but Lopez isn't willing to do that. He
No,
doesn't seem to be willing to do a rematch with
no.
Lomachenko. Maybe he is looking. He said he was looking forward to bigger fights like Josh Taylor at 140. 140.
Yeah.
But I think a fight with a rematch with Lomachenko would be even bigger than that, given Lomachenko's popularity and his status. Lomachenko is really a
Exactly.
proven, several times proven champion. I mean, two-time gold medalist,
Yeah.
and he became champion at only the third fight of his career. I
Super
mean,
young, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
he's one of the best of the best.
I just love to watch him fight. I just
Yeah, I mean his
so
moves,
much fun.
moving in and out, and
Exactly.
circling those
Dodging
angles.
everything.
Yeah, I mean, he's
And
the
he's
full
got
package.
all the he's a pleasure to watch fight. You don't under Manny's very different, obviously, but the same kind of thing where he'll do something, he'll do a rhythm thing,
Yeah,
he'll bob out of something, come out on the other side, and it looks like
exactly.
magic. You're like,
Yeah,
how did he just move like that? And he anticipates everything. I also like that
exactly.
he does a lot this thing where if someone is really closed up,
Uh-huh.
he takes the hand away, which is really vicious, which
Oh,
is really
yep,
mean.
yep. He does
And
that a lot.
you don't see that many fighters doing it because it's quite hard to do it without uncovering yourself too much.
Yep,
But
yep.
he'll pull away and then boom, come back,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
which
I
really
think
makes it
that
fun.
was really he used that a lot against what's his name? Roman something. I forgot his opponent's
Yeah,
name. Yeah, yeah, way
yeah, yeah.
years ago.
It's a good technique.
And he also had a shoulder injury against Lopez.
Mhm.
So I think the rematch
Yeah,
would be
exactly.
a great
We'll see what
PPV fight.
happens.
It should be a pay-per-view fight.
Yeah, lots of money. Anyways,
He's 33, so I still have a lot of hope on him. And but with Manny, I think I mean logically, I want him to retire, of course, given his age and his political duty to the political career. I mean, he's a senator. Excuse me. He might run for presidency in 2022
do you
next
think?
year in the Philippines. I mean, it's in the talks. He's talking about
Really?
that. A lot of people are talking about that. So he might, but I'm not sure about that. But what I'm sure, almost sure about, is that I think he will come back, even though
Yeah,
it's now likable. It's not a good idea to a lot of fans and analysts, but I think he won't retire with a loss. And
yeah.
once in one of his previous interviews 2 years ago, I think, or three, he said his last fight would be in the Philippines.
That
Yeah,
would be
so
nice. Yeah,
maybe he will rematch Ugas in the Philippines.
at
That would
home.
be a huge fight. That would be like Trump, a
That would be
huge
really
fight.
cool. That would be really fun. Which one? Isn't it the Muhammad Ali, didn't he do a big fight? The Thriller in is that
Oh,
it
the
was actually in
thriller in
Manila. Thriller
Manila,
in
Manila,
Manila. That
yeah.
was actually obviously in. I never
Manila.
actually I know the name of the thing, but then I never for some reason thought that it was
Was
it obviously wasn't the Philippines. I don't know why
yeah, in the Philippines.
I never made the connection. Yeah, he can do his version of that.
With Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier and
Exactly.
Muhammad Ali won. He
And
won
he
the fight
won.
by 14 round knockout. Imagine
Yeah.
14th round.
And he won against because it was a rematch against Frazier, right? I think
Trilogy actually, trilogy.
it was
So
a
4 fights.
trilogy.
Yeah,
And no, I think no one thought he would win. He was starting to
slow
uh,
down.
look like it was the end, or that
Oh
he was
yeah,
a bit too tired, and
mm,
he won him on stamina and on being able to stay constant when it was really hot, really
yeah,
tiring. So
he did.
yeah, that would actually be a really nice symbol for Manny to come back and
And
do
but
a big outdoor fight.
manages to a little too. I don't want to say old, but too old. No better word. It's
I don't want to
old.
say old, but he's
Too
not young enough, is what I mean.
yeah. Right. I mean, right. He's not young enough. He's nobody's getting younger anyway.
That's true.
He's a human. So
That's true.
um, I really want him to rematch Ugas. I think he should and he will. One thing about his training, his training against Ugas. See, he was supposed to fight Errol Spence Jr. and Errol Spence Jr. pulled out of the fight
Yeah.
in 11 days. In
Yeah.
11 until 11 days till fight night, and
Oh,
Ugas
that's
was
right.
the
And
late
that's what it just came in. Yeah.
replacement.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
late replacements are. I think they have an edge over the
Yeah.
defending guys because you see in Manny's last case he was preparing for a southpaw. Errol Spence is a great southpaw fighter, of course a
Yeah.
tall guy 5'9", the same as Ugas. Southpaw totally different, and Manny hadn't fought a southpaw in 12 years. His last southpaw
Really.
opponent was in 2008 against David Diaz at
Whoa.
135. See, in
That's
12
crazy.
years, and he was prepared. I mean, he overtrained. I think he really overtrained. He was running almost every day, like 6 days a week,
Wow.
until almost fight day. So the fights today, he still was running until yesterday. So he
Yeah.
he said he admitted that he probably overtrained because he was too passionate, which I think he was right. But with his age, they should. I mean, they know like better than all the critics and fans, but I think they should really have more time for recovery than training.
Yeah.
I think he overtrained, and his opponent switch was a big thing to him. He probably underestimated Ugas because Ugas has always been a low reward, high risk fighter.
Yeah.
I think he beat Sean Porter in
Okay.
2019.
I didn't know him really at all until
Actually,
he
yeah,
stepped
he
in.
isn't really
Like
public.
he really wasn't yeah.
He was basically almost unknown to
Mm,
the
to the
general boxing fan.
general public.
Yeah,
Yeah.
general public.
And when
I
you
can
come
take it.
in, it's always the same thing. I'm trying to think I feel like there was a similar example in the last 2 years of when you come in as a replacement at the last minute. As you said, you always have the edge. You've got nothing to lose. You're
Exactly,
the
exactly.
underdog. You've got everything to prove. You're the real wild card. And it's just amazing for you to be there anyways.
Yeah, yeah,
In most cases, they don't get a big ticket person
exactly.
to step in. So yeah, he did kind of what was expected of him, and he won, and it's great. It's great for him, and I hope that he has a good career, etc.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it would be nice, yeah. I mean, now you're convincing me to think that actually there should be a rematch because I think it would be amazing to have that thing, an outdoor arena in Manila,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
massive. That would be fantastic. So actually, you're right. You're right. It would be great, and to offer that to the Philippines and to all his fans at home, I think
Yeah.
people would go crazy.
He is gonna be 43 on
Yeah,
December 17th. He was still fast. He was quick. He was strong. But yeah, August was a better man that night. Better
yeah,
man. He
yeah,
won. I think I had it like uh 16 16 I mean 116 112, or it
yeah,
could be 115 113.
yeah.
There were some close rounds, so it was a clear win for Ugas. Even though I'm
It
a
was.
huge Manny fan, I'm not gonna say that Manny won that fight because I don't think he won.
You're honest. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I guess he has to come in more at the because what you were saying about overtraining is interesting. Obviously, he has to
I think he
being a bit.
did.
Yeah, and it kind of indicates that he might be coming at it with the wrong angle because obviously he has to stay in shape and he has to be able to go through all the rounds. But what
Mm,
he's bringing, the advantage that he has in that situation, it's never going to be his physical shape. It's never going to be. He's great. He's got good stamina and everything, and he always has. But it's never going to be. He's never going to be the strongest
yeah,
or
of course.
or the most endurant at that age. So he
Exactly.
has
Yeah.
to bet on his experience. He has to bet on his quickness, of course, but more on that kind of having the
Experience.
mental and
Yeah.
psychological edge of having done, the one of the greatest fight track records of all times. Like
Yeah.
he's got to play that card more than being able to run really, really long. Because that's
Yeah. I
right.
think
You'll always get beat at that.
yeah, there was some maybe a little underestimation from his camp, I think, because
Yeah.
they were adamant that Manny was gonna knock him out, and Manny hasn't scored a knockout in since 2009, since his stoppage win over Cotto, but he had a stoppage win
But
in
yes.
2018, Lucas Matisse.
Yeah.
But wasn't Lucas Matisse isn't a huge welterweight, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
I
he-
never. It's what you were saying about the southpaws as well. I never.
yeah.
I know much less than you do, especially about Manny, on the stats and
Yeah.
everything. And I hadn't. It's interesting. You're right. On the knockout, I kind of knew, but I wouldn't have put it that far back. I
Hmm.
thought that he'd had some more recent knockout wins, but you're right. I can't think of anything.
2018 was his last knockout win
Yeah,
against Lucas Matisse in Malaysia.
but then before that, there's a big gap. That's interesting.
Yeah, so
Oh,
the opponent switch number one, and number two, he probably underestimated the guy
yeah.
and he overtrained. So call it excuses, okay? But yeah, those are my points. Anyway,